Hey, I've been wanting to record a video today, and I kept finding myself resisting it. And I thought of a really good way for me to get unstuck. First, a little more history. Today, I'm definitely feeling overwhelmed and kind of anxious, and I'm kind of trying to sort out why that's happening. One thing that's been coming up a lot for me is just feeling like there are things I feel like I should be doing that do not match up with the things that I want to be doing. And there's guilt involved and shame around feeling like I'm not going to... Hold on, I wanted to check something. Okay, good. I'm sure many of you can relate to this. I think it's a very, very common emotion, is feeling like what you really want to be doing or you think that you want to be doing is in conflict. It's not in alignment with what you feel like you should be doing. And so many of us put ourselves in situations that don't feel great. And it kind of builds up a lot of resentment and discomfort and unhappiness, I think. Now for me, I've created a life where I'm in control of most of these things because I work for myself and I live by myself, and my world right now is mainly around me, like Evie being the exception. And that's a great thing in most ways, but it's really challenging when you're in charge of everything and you make all the decisions, because if you don't feel like doing something, it's hard to feel motivated to do it anyways. And I feel like there are so many things that I've intended on doing and I've told people I'm going to do and I want to work on, and I feel the pressure of them, but not the motivation. And it could just be right now. I think this is the other important thing to remember if you're ever going through anything similar to this, is that it's temporary. Like, all of our feelings are temporary, and it can be really easy to get lost in the moment and think like, I'm never going to get out of this. This is never going to go away. What am I going to do? And you start to panic and you worry a lot about it. And I know that I feel this way sometimes, and I know that this will go away. So deep breathing helps, and also finding ways to be motivated. So what I'm going to do is read some of the responses I've been receiving to the survey that I put out. If you haven't done the survey yet, I would love, love, love your input on it. It is linked. It is the first and I think only link in the description field underneath this video. In addition to supporting me and helping me understand you more, if you fill out the survey, you also have an opportunity to win some things from me. I'm giving away a care package, and I'm also giving away some memberships to Eco Vegan Pal, the membership community. And I have just been finding so much joy out of reading the responses, and I hope that you're part of it. And it's interesting, most people who have filled out this survey have been super in depth and vulnerable. So I'm going to share some things today without naming any names, and I'll keep them kind of vague. I want to say them out loud because I'm trying to understand them and let them soak in, because a huge reason that I did this survey is so that I can better understand you, so that it can help me figure out where to put my focus, because what I create is not just for me, it's for you, and I want to create things that are supportive for you and helpful. So the survey has just been really, really eye-opening, and yet I've received a lot of responses. I'm not going to read them all. I'm going to just kind of go bit by bit. Some of them, actually, there's a lot of crossover. There's a lot of similar responses. There are a few people that like skipped questions or like wrote 1 or 2 word answers and were very vague about it, which is fine. Those answers are not super informative. So if you do decide to complete the survey, I would love for you to be as in depth and open as possible. Remember, I'll never reveal your name. All of this is super private in the sense that I may like refer to some things in this video, as you'll see, but whatever you want to share with me is completely confidential to who you are. And if there's ever anything that you never want me to share, then please write that in a note, so I'll just make sure to be ultra conscious of it. Some people might not want their thoughts or feelings shared at all, even if their name's not attached to it, and I really want to respect that. And with that said, I'm going to definitely try to find a way to phrase things in non-specific ways today so that I am retaining privacy, because I didn't get anybody's permission to talk about these things. But again, I'm not even going to look at the names attached to anything I'm about to share with you here. So I hope that's okay. And if for some reason it's not, I can always take this video down. So this is really more for my benefit to just verbalize, to say out loud some of the amazing things that I've been learning about you. And hopefully it also encourages you to share. Maybe if you hear some of other people's responses, you'll be able to better understand or articulate the things that have been on your mind and the responses you would have to these things. So let me pull it up. So I asked, I think there are 10 questions in here in total, and some of them are multiple choice. And one thing that's been really interesting is my very first question is, what stage best describes your lifestyle right now? And the great majority, almost 45% of people said that they consider themselves committed, meaning they're dedicated to the vegan lifestyle, environmental. Did I write this wrong? I don't know. I can't see the whole response here, but it's basically for those of you who have been dedicated to this for a year or more. And that's super insightful, because sometimes I feel like I don't know who I'm talking to in terms of where they're at with their careers. So I feel like most of my content not where they're at with their careers, where they're at with their lifestyle. I feel like most of my content is pretty tailored to the committed person, but I feel like sometimes I've gone a little bit more towards the beginner side of things, and I actually much prefer directing my content towards people that are at the committed stage, because I feel like anybody can learn from that stage. Like if you are a beginner, you can aspire to be really committed to the lifestyle, and if you are committed, then it's tailored right to you. So I feel like this is going to help me shape a lot more of the content that I'm creating. Or I'll just define it and refine it a little bit more. The other question I asked is, what topics do you enjoy learning about, need the most help with? And 46% said they wanted food suggestions, which is not really what I wanted to hear, but I'll see what I can do. I think so many people use the web for like trying to figure out what to eat and recipes and that sort of thing. And it's just not my passion, but I love talking about products. So I guess I think maybe it's my fear that people just want recipes from me, because that's not what I want to create and that's not what I do create. But I feel like I can just kind of talk more about the things that I'm eating and the things that I'm buying or receiving and all that. So that's probably some of the content that I'll be doing. 22% said that they wanted lifestyle advice on topics like relationship and mindset practices. And I'm really excited about that, because that's my big passion. And maybe if I start doing more of that content, that'll be, the numbers will skew a little bit more. I think the fact that I started off doing a lot of or maybe not started off, but pretty early on in my career with Eco Vegan Gal, I was doing recipes and meal ideas and things like that. And I think some people just identified me as that type of person, and that's what they just still want. That's why they're still subscribed, or they still following my work. And that's always really interesting, because I feel like I've just changed so much, especially over the past couple years, maybe 2 or 3 years. I feel like the more that I have been exploring myself and working on new facets of myself, which is actually always happening, but I think that I've been taking more of a step back and really evaluating who I am as a person and less focusing my content on what I feel like it should be. And that's something I think about so much because I struggle with what I want to do. Like I said, what I want to do versus what I feel like I should do. And this channel has always been really vulnerable for me and challenging for me to make videos for, because I feel like this is a style that's not like classically acceptable for YouTube. YouTube, you see like short videos and edited videos and clickbaits and thumbnails, and everything's just like entertainment driven. And that's not really my thing. Every once in a while I'll do content that's framed for entertainment, but I think more and more what I really want to do is just share my life and my authentic self, and not try to shape myself into being who I think I should be and what's more like acceptable and what's more appealing and all of that. And that's really a huge challenge for me, because it's a little hard to articulate. This is my career, and I want it to stay my career. And there's sometimes pressure to be a certain way because you get results from being a certain way, versus being yourself and being unattached to the results. And if the results come, that's great. And I think I'm just trying to figure out how I can balance that out. As I was saying again, like, how can I be more authentically myself and feel less pressured to be a certain way and create in a certain way, and just be focused on like what really nourishes my soul? Because I think that is the most important thing at the end of the day, is just being truly yourself and doing what you want in life, and just being very open about it, even if it doesn't make you as much money as you want, and even if it doesn't bring you like fame or attention or, you know, people acknowledging you. Like, you know, honestly, I love doing these sit down videos just in front of the webcam, and I don't feel like they're, I don't want to say that I don't feel like they're valuable. It's just that I feel like a lot of people aren't interested in them, and that's hard for me sometimes. But the people that do watch them and do stick around to the end and come to the live recordings like this one, I feel like that you're the type of people that I really am doing this for anyway. So I've said this before, but it's almost like I'm trying to become less attached to anything else, because what else really matters? If I really enjoy something and there's a small group of people that are into it, then why should I try to change just to reach the masses if that's not really going to satisfy me? It's tough. It's really tough. Just recording this video feels tough. I also just feel like I feel tired right now, and it's like a weird form of tired. I feel just like physically drained, and all I want to do is lie around. I'm supposed to go to yoga in an hour, and I'm like, that just sounds awful. I know it'll be great, but the thought of like getting in my car and driving to yoga and getting dressed for it and like just having to do anything other than lying here sounds awful. That's part of the reason why it's been hard for me to record. I have like almost a little bit of a headache, and I just at this moment feel like I'm just abandoning this video altogether. But I'm going to press on and see if I feel better. This is one of my favorite questions, and actually I'm going to talk about this in my podcast with Jason, which we're recording tomorrow. So I feel like I want to just skim this, but we're really going to dig into this one, which was, if you could wave a magic wand, how would your lifestyle and health improve instantly today? As in like right now. People saying they would spend less time in front of technology. They would go back in time and start eating better years ago. They would lose weight and get rid of their food allergies. They would move to a zero waste and minimalist lifestyle. There's a lot of people talking about losing weight, which is really fascinating to me. eating more balanced meals, having a better relationship with food, lose weight. I mean, it's just so many around weight loss, and it's fascinating. A lot of people want to be healed of a disease or just feeling healthy, having a better state of mind, having their ideal body, which I also think is connected to losing weight for some people. Better balance in their life, which is similar to this topic today. Having more confidence. Meditating more. Feeling less overwhelmed, being more disciplined, being more mindful, feeling less stressed. It feels like there's just a big theme around making better choices and finding balance, feeling more comfortable. I mean, there's just so many comments about weight loss in here. And people that are sick, there's someone here who had battled cancer, someone who has autoimmune diseases. It's so interesting, too, to read this because I think I've been afraid recently to talk about my journey with weight loss because as of today, it's a little hard to tell. You know, our weights fluctuate so much, but I weighed myself today for the first time in a few days because I'd been out of town at the conference. And I think right now I've lost 17 pounds since the end of July or beginning of August. So it's been it's been about 3 months and I lost 17 pounds. And most of that weight came off really, really fast. Most of that weight actually came off in the first month and a half or so. And then it's just been steady. And so I'll the scale kind of fluctuates a pound or so, or actually like a pound or less, I would say. And that's been super encouraging. I'm just absolutely amazed with what's happened to my body over the past few months. And I definitely have a lot of content planned for talking about that. But I've been a little bit nervous about it because I just feel like weight loss is such a sensitive subject. And maybe that's because I'm coming at it from the perspective of somebody who's struggled with an eating disorder or disordered eating, whatever you want to call it. And I just feel like it can trigger people so much and it just brings up so much in people. But I guess going back to what I said before, I feel like I just need to be very authentic and intentional with my work and not worry about how people respond to it, because you can't please everybody. There's a lot of people out there that are just not going to like you and not going to like what you say or do or how you look or how you talk about it. And I think YouTube right these days thrives on drama. So I think people are looking for drama constantly on YouTube. They're looking to vent. They're looking, just this is true of the internet in general. It's becomes a place of, I think for the most part, the internet is like a place we go to try to connect with one another, or the polar opposite where we go to feel better about ourselves. And some people feel better about themselves by looking for the flaws in others. And I'm so sensitive. I think I'm just terrified of people seeing my flaws and pointing them out, because I see my flaws, and then when somebody else points out your flaw or points out something about you that you've never seen as a flaw, and then you start to think of it as a flaw, it's really tough. And this happens to me very frequently. Luckily, it's not every day, but it's frequently enough. And people's words get burned into my head. And it takes a lot to keep moving forward and not let that get to you. But anyways, I have an ebook that I've been slowly working on about getting to a balanced body. It's called Healthy Balanced Vegan Body. And so reading these responses has really inspired me to get that book done. And I think I'm actually going to create a program around it. And I've been a little afraid to embrace that, but just reading people's responses here, I feel like maybe that could be really helpful. And I'm trying to figure out how that would form, because I don't consider myself a weight loss expert by any means, because I've struggled with my weight so much over the years. And this recent weight loss is the result of an experiment and something that I'm so new at. And there's just like so much that I am unsure about, but I really feel like maybe I can put together a program or a summit or something that would bring in other experts and have conversations around it. So I have to flesh that idea out more. I like the idea of bringing in other people. I'm a big believer in charging people for things, because I feel like when you pay for something, you tend to value it more or prioritize it more. And I've participated in a lot of summits. I've spoken in summits, free summits, and I've taken them. And if I don't pay for them, I rarely ever pay attention. So I might do something like a sliding scale. I'm also trying to think of what I will be offering for every year. I like to do some sort of a sale or something new for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. I participate in this big bundle sale I have for the past few years, and I've been thinking about doing something weight loss related for that, but we'll see if it comes together in the right way in time. But I really feel like weight loss is something I want to continue to explore and maybe approach it in a different way than a lot of people. Like, instead of just saying promising results and, step-by-step instructions, but just having more of a conversation around it and helping people find their own way to healthy weight loss, because I think it's just an ongoing journey. I mean, I've been struggling with my weight, at least mentally, most of my life. Well, I wouldn't say most of my life. I guess it is technically most of my life, but I remember weight coming up for me when I was around 10 or so. And unfortunately, weight became a sore point for me because I saw it as connected to my beauty and connected to how desirable I was to men, and also connected to my career, because when I was little, I really wanted to be an actress. And one of the most defining points of my life in terms of my body was when my mother's, it's like I remember this memory. I think, I don't know if I'm witnessing it from like in my body as a 10-year-old girl, or if I'm witnessing it as if I were looking from the outside. But I know exactly where I was in my parents' house when this happened. My mother's friend had been a model, and so when I expressed to my parents that I wanted to be an actress, since I grew up in a small town, they started reaching out to friends I knew that had worked in entertainment, because we just didn't know very many people. And I think they were just trying to figure it out, right? So my mom thought that her friend, her who had been a model and had I don't know, been on camera for something, I don't remember what it was, but she lived in New York City, and she was just the closest type of person that they could find for this, or my mom could find. And I remember my mom's friend was visiting, and I think she measured my body. And she was telling me how, she took out the measuring tape and I'm measuring me. And she told me how the best way to increase my chances of getting a role was to be skinny, because that's what they were looking for. And she showed me an exercise on how to trim down my waist. Now, I'm sure that she meant that in the best way possible. I'm sure that she was trying to help. But I remember after that being really concerned with my body shape. And I remember dieting maybe for the first time in my life and talking to other friends about weight loss. And so I know for sure that since I was 10 years old that I have been looking for ways to feel good about my body. So maybe it's just as simple as creating something centered around those personal experiences in my journey and having conversations around it. I actually, the more I share that, the more valuable I think that it could be. And I also wondered if maybe I could just build that into the Eco Vegan Pal membership, because I feel like my big goal with Eco Vegan Pal is to create a sense of community and support. And I want to, increase the conversations in there. So maybe it's like all just bundled into that. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. Well, I'm glad that I fleshed that out. I would love to hear more of your thoughts about these things too. There's just so many responses. Oh my gosh. Let's see what else is in here. If you're just tuning in, I'm going through some of the results that I've received from the survey that I put out recently. If you haven't sent in this or completed the survey yet, I would love for you to. You can keep it anonymous, or you can write a note and ask me to never share any of your words, or you can just trust me in that I will never connect your words with your name for privacy's sake. So as you can see, I'm kind of just sharing the gist of some of these responses I've received. And the link is down below in the description field. I would love for you. Okay. So again, for those of you joining, the question that I'm looking at, the answers to this question is, if you could wave a magic wand, how would your lifestyle and health improve instantly? Let's see what else. A lot of people talking about weight loss and working out. One person said they would be at peace with food. I would find a way to sleep through the night. I would be toned and feel less overwhelmed. I would be in a job that I'm happy in. I would feel less anxious, more joyful and confident. Confidence is another word that people use. I would have a handle on my health. I would do more yoga. I would know what to feed myself intuitively. I would not have any financial worries. I would have better relationships. I would lose weight again. I would have more energy. I would, a lot of energy, a lot of ideal body weight comments, a lot of people wanting to eat better. Some people talking about wanting to make a living on their passions, which is something I love talking about. It's always one of my favorite things. And also, are there comments coming through? Oh, okay, cool. I just want to say hello to Green Dragon and Rainbow. And thanks for watching, Rainbow. Flower Power says, oh, that's so sweet. Said, please don't ever leave us. Your videos mean so much to me. You have a beautiful spirit. That means so much to read things like that. Thank you so much for saying that, because I just have been if you missed the beginning of this video, you can always go back when the recording's up. But just to summarize, I struggle with what I'm going to do. It's not a matter of if I'm going to do this work. It's just a matter of how do I create in the way that feels most fulfilling and most powerful. And it's just tough when you have a small audience, because generally, I talked about this a few videos ago, I think, but generally, a lot of the way that you make a living from work like this is to have a larger audience from things like ad revenue and affiliate links, all these things. So it's kind of just, it's also the larger audiences, unfortunately, the more seriously a lot of people take you. And so it's like, I'm trying to find a way to be less attached to numbers and more just like a value and quality, because that's really what I want. I think this whole numbers thing is really disheartening. And again, I'm pretty sure I talked more in depth about this a few videos ago, so I'm not going to completely repeat it. But if I could, I would just have no idea how many people were watching and in the community, and I would not have to tell anybody about this. Like, I don't want to lead with that at all. And so I'm trying to find a way to shape it where it's just that I can be most authentic and really create value without trying to use numbers as a measuring stick. And that's really, really tough. It's tough to do because that's just like the way this industry works. And I don't want to continue to buy into that because it doesn't really make me feel good. So comments like that are incredibly motivating and means just a lot to me on a personal level. Okay. I think that there's so many answers. I received so many answers to these questions. And again, if you haven't filled out the survey, I would love for your answers to be part of it, because the more I can hear it, the more, the more I see how many people want to lose weight, it's like, okay, like clearly this is a topic that I want to address more and maybe need to address more, because this is such a big thing in people's heads. And maybe a lot of people ended up on my mailing list when I was doing this project a few years ago called Healthy Balanced Vegan Body. It was a series that's inspiring my new ebook. And I think a lot of people were drawn to that. It wasn't like insanely successful, but it did really well. And I just received so much fantastic feedback and support over the time that I was doing those videos. So I think it would help for me to get back into it. And I actually really love doing those videos because they were, from what I remember, unedited. And I was just having a conversation about a book that I read and summarizing it. And again, I think I got to a point where I was editing them more. I had a sponsor for some time, and so I was trying to make them more polished. And I actually much preferred them when I was just sitting down and talking about them. Honestly, if I'm just super, super honest, this is the style that I like to do. I just want to sit down and talk, but I am terrified of the idea that this is like, people don't want to sit here and watch a 45-minute video unedited and recorded live. Like that is like such a major conflict, because this is what I like to do. And it's that fear of, is what I enjoy doing the most valuable to others, or is it moving the needle forward in the ways that I want to? I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm still trying to find the balance. And I don't think I would watch, if I saw a 45-minute long YouTube video that was unedited, I'm not sure I would watch it. But if it's somebody that I really enjoyed watching and I like the topic, then I probably would, or I'd turn it on in the background. And then sometimes I'm like, why don't I just do a podcast when 45 minutes is the standard for a podcast episode? I am working on a podcast, and the podcast is similar to this, but with the addition of Jason. So I think it has a lot more quote unquote entertainment value, but I also really like being on camera. So I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know. Your feedback is always welcome. Okay. The next question in the survey, which is, what is your biggest struggle right now, physically or mentally? One person said, trying to figure out what my life's passion is, which is exciting because I have a free ebook coming out that you can sign up for already if you go to my website. And it's all about this very topic. And I've been finding, I have been just diving really deeply into the subject matter about finding your passion and purpose. And I'm really, really excited to release this. So that'll be a completely free ebook, at least for the time being. Time organization and time management. One person wrote both, but I don't know what that means. Time management is another thing, a lack of time, being productive, making smart choices, feeling confused, sticking with healthy eating, how to have confidence, lack of time again. Let's see, feeling like your health has decreased, stuck in a rut, change of season, motivation, confidence. Reading these out loud just really, really hits me hard, because I'm like, gosh, it's so helpful when you understand what people are struggling with, because I am somebody, saying this out loud, brings up a lot of emotions for me, but and this is giving me some clarity too, but I think that a lot of the work I want to do is just to give people advice and feedback, and to encourage people and remind people that they're okay, and that everything's going to be fine, and that each of you are so amazing and valuable as human beings. And maybe my purpose, which I'm still trying to figure out myself. I have a lot of practice from just meditation, and I just go to so much. My whole world is like about self-improvement, right? And I've devoted the past 10 plus years to self-improvement, and not just for myself, but for other people. And I think in the beginning, I really was focused on like helping people go vegan and understand veganism. And that is something I almost feel like has run its course in a certain way, because I've just created so much content around that subject. I don't think that I necessarily want to focus on the how-to as much as I used to. I really think I find the most joy in hearing what people are going through and helping them work through it. And I was thinking about this because one of my main source of income at the moment, like right now, it's a temporary source of income, is working with a really big company and giving them feedback on new developments in their software. And I can't say any more than that. I mean, maybe I could, but I'm not going to say anything more than that. It probably sounds completely unrelated to my work, but it's directly related to my work. And it's been an incredible project for me, and I just love it because I enjoy giving feedback. I enjoy testing things. And I think this is what comes up a lot in my work, is I love just trying things out and then sharing my opinion on it, right? And then I also deeply enjoy hearing what people are going through and reflecting back my perception of them, which is usually an incredibly positive thing. Because I feel like most people, the things that they're struggling with are just so in their head. And a lot of us just get trapped in this internal struggle. And we don't realize that the solutions are so simple, or that maybe the things that we think we want aren't really the things that we deeply want. And as I said at the beginning of this, I struggle with that too. I struggle with this, like what I feel like I should be doing versus what I really want to be doing. And I think most people are going through that. And life can just get so confusing. And there's so much for us as adults, assuming you're an adult like me, but maybe you're a teenager, wherever you are in your life. The older we get, the more things that get built up, the more layers that are created in our lives that can kind of keep us away from seeing who we are at the core. And I've said this many times, and maybe this is just something I need to reiterate for myself, but I love helping people shed away those layers. And I think it ties into everything, and it ties into being vegan and eco-friendly and healthy. It's like just clearing out any blocks, any resistance, any layer, like whatever isn't there. And so sometimes I feel like that is maybe my life's purpose and my work, is just helping people clear it away. In addition to trying to articulate it better, I also am not sure how to best communicate that. I also just realized in this moment, like I was completely unaware of it till right now, that I'm chewing gum. I don't know if I've ever chewed gum on camera before. And I was just, talk about lack of awareness. I could feel it. It's like in the side of my mouth right now. And I'm like, have I been making obnoxious gum sounds this whole time? I hope not. I'm going to take it out though. That's so funny that I just wasn't paying any attention to that. And this microphone's like a very sensitive one. This is what people use for like ASMR. So I apologize. I'm very sensitive to sounds like that. So hopefully none of you were incredibly distracted or annoyed by that. All right. Well, now that we have a bigger audience watching live, thanks for tuning in. If you're just tuning in now, I'm going over some of the most common responses I've received in the survey I put out. If you have not submitted the survey yourself, please do. It means so much to me. I've been combing through responses with a fine-tooth comb to better understand you and how I can serve you, and it's helping me so much. The link is right down below. You can also be entered to win some really cool prizes, and I would just love, 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 love to hear from you. Okay, so the struggles, back to some struggle examples. I mean, some people really bared their souls here and told me how they feel hopeless and depressed and are exhausted, or they are wondering why they do things, like they're confused about their behavior and feeling overwhelmed and being mindless about life. And there's one person that thought that they wouldn't be much help because they were so busy helping other people. And it's so interesting how some of us, how we can get into this mindset of like, our opinions and our feelings don't matter, but I want each of you to know how much it matters to me. Oh, and I love some of these, like one person identifying their fear of failure, which I can really, really relate to. And a lot of energy. A lot of people are struggling with time management energy. Money, sleep is very common. Staying fit, working out. Some people have struggles with anxiety, like social anxiety, overcommitting, again, overwhelm and stress, having cravings. So if any of these resonate with you, know that you're not alone. Like, so many people struggle with this. I mean, most of what I want to do next is put all of these responses into a document and organize them based on what's the most common response. And I would say it's just a lot of, if I had to summarize it all, I think it's a deep unsatisfaction and wanting to be in a place that they're not. And boy, can I relate to that. I think most people feel that one way or another. And what was it that someone said? Hold on. I went to the conference that I went to this weekend. They shared like the top regret of the dying, I think. Let's see if I can pull this up. I'm a big note taker, especially now that I have this new laptop. I just love taking notes. So, what was it that they said? Maybe I didn't write it down. I thought it was in that. I went to so many talks this weekend. I don't remember what it was, but I feel like it was something around like not gosh, that's so weird to think I didn't. It must be in my notes somewhere. It's hard to see here, but one of us could just look it up, right? Top regrets. I feel like there's like the cliche top regrets of the dying. Well, here's one of them. I wish I had had the courage to live a life true to myself and not, this gives me just chills, not the life others expected of me. This was the most common regret of all. That's just from one of the things I read. And like when you read that, it seems so obvious, right? Like, I'm going to live the life that I want to live. But it's just a lot easier said than done because so many of us are wrapped up in what we're just wrapped up in the shoulds. And so it becomes really hard to, how do you even figure out what's true for you? I mean, I struggle with this and it's a daily practice for me. Meditation, for example, like this, I'm recommitting to meditations starting today, and I sat and I meditated. And I think that was just the goal. The biggest goal is just like, what's true for me right now? How do I want to live? What's important to me? And I think the times when I feel really stressed or negative or defeated or whatever is when I am just feeling at odds with it all and feeling like I should. So it's breaking free of that, which I think takes an ongoing commitment. And that's something I want to do more content on, is how do we find more of our truth? So much. There's so much I want to do. And that's another challenge for me, is like narrowing it down. I kind of would love to have more of a focus, and I tried to do that this year a few times, and I just slipped up on it. And I think I'm just going to continue to work on that for the rest of this year and the beginning of next year, is just to make things a little bit more concise and stop taking on so much. But it's really challenging. Speaking of which, as much as I would love to continue on and read more results for you, I think I need to relax a bit before I attempt to go to yoga. That in itself, it's like really hard for me to decide about yoga, because I never regret going to yoga. It's always fantastic. But it's funny how like knowing that it's going to be great still is hard for me to go. I almost feel like I need to visualize myself there. And because usually what happens is I'm all stressed out about driving there. But today actually is going to be kind of fun because I get to try something new with my car. I'll tell you about that later, but and it'll make sense why I just said that. But anyways, I visualize myself going into the room and unrolling my yoga mat, and I do hot yoga, so the rooms always have like a potent smell, and usually in a good way. Every once in a while it's a little too strong a sweat, but it just like there's a heaviness to the air, and there's like these different layers of smells that smell so familiar and warm and peaceful to me there. And it's a little hard to describe, but like the smell of going into that room, and then like the way the air quality hits my lungs, like the contrast between the cold lobby or the regular temperature lobby and like the hot yoga room, going in there and just like feeling it, like it's just a wave of heat, and it does make you feel like warm and cozy. And tonight I was planning on going to a yin class, which is a more relaxed yoga. You're not active. Most of the time you're lying down or you're sitting up and doing very slow things. And I have to visualize myself just like laying there and being grateful for being there and finishing the class, and just like feeling that pat on the back experience of knowing that I did it. But then there's part of me where I just want to lie at home tonight and do nothing. And days like this, it's really tough. It's really tough because I feel at conflict with two different emotions, like the knowledge, the logic of knowing how good I would feel at yoga, and that I wouldn't have to deal with the guilt of not going to yoga, versus staying at home and maybe feeling a little guilty and not feeling quite as good physically, but like the satisfaction of staying home and just being lazy also sounds really nice. It's tough. I struggle with that constantly. And I think I hear the same thing with people that meditate. It's like some people say that meditation isn't easy. How many times you practice it, you'll still experience some resistance to it, big or small. And resistance is just so fascinating. Ugh. Okay, I'm going to go sort out my conflicts with yoga right now. Thank you for watching. I really hope to hear from you in the survey. Again, if you fill it out, you can opt to be entered in to the contest. You can choose to be anonymous. You can say whatever you want to say, long or short responses, whatever you can share with me that you think would help me get to know you better, and to give some more insight into the things that could support you with, because that is a big priority, is figuring out how I can support you on a deeper level and really help you achieve whatever your goals are. So I hope you'll participate. The link's in the description. If you're watching this like way in the future, you can always email me or send me a private message instead. But the survey I'm going to keep up for a little while just so I can collect as much data as possible. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I'll see you very soon. And actually, I'm not quite sure what my next video is going to be because I'm going out of town for like almost a month again. But I'm bringing this camera and the computer, so I'm sure there will be moments where I'll want to record. It's just that I won't really be alone very much for the next month, which sounds a little upsetting, but we'll figure it out. Okay, bye.